Mark, let's do the intro and do me a favor. I know, even though Anthony's my friend, you understand more about what he does than I do, so you do the intro, even though he's my friend.
Okay.
Because I don't know that end of the business at all. I just go, when people ask me about it, I go, I don't know, I call Mark Riccadonna. Mark tells me what to do.
And it's not because Mark knows. It's because if Mark doesn't know, he makes it up.
He makes it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling. I'm your host, Mark Riccadonna, and with me, as always,
Richie Byrne.
You did a very NPR, Richie Byrne.
That was very NPR, yeah. Was.
I like it.
What's up, buddy?
Richie, how are you?
I'm in a terrible mood.
We got to work together. I'm in a great mood.
Yeah, we did. We had fun the other night.
That was a really
hungover,
fun show.
That was a great show.
We did it.
Am I ever going to get paid?
Yeah, I told you. I told you 1,000 times, but we were supposed to meet this Wednesday. You kept blowing it off. Just give it to me Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, we're not meeting Wednesday.
I'll Venmo you. I'll Venmo you as soon as the show's over.
I don't have Venmo, but that's okay.
Okay, well then I'll.
You know what I did this weekend though that I'm very proud of? Tony, you'll like this. I connected my I'm very proud of this. I connected my bank account to Zelle. This is like a big moment in my life that I was able to figure this out all on my own.
Richie.
Thank you, Tony.
Oh
Great. We're using sound effects now. We're the Carrot Top of what is this? Oh, podcast. All right. Let's get to this because it's one of my oldest and dearest friends in the world. So I'm very excited to have him back.
He's so tied into technology.
He is.
That it's hysterical that you two would be for good.
It's amazing because I actually, now that now I know how to put Zelle on my. I mean, come on.
Wow.
It's like I'm right there. Like I should work for NASA.
I'm telling you, I'm going to take a few steps back at this moment because I feel like Richie's taking over. He's the guy's got Zelle now. I mean, my dad, who's about to hit 80, he has Zelle.
Your dad's not hitting 80. You just remembered your dad's around my age and you felt bad. That's right.
But we got Richie's dear friend, and he can explain the Richie what he does, because what Anthony does is so awesome. And I've been watching him on social media, and not only does he do awesome work, he's a very positive guy. If you follow him on social media, every morning he usually gives you a nice pep talk, and I love it. Dude, I love your pep talks. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Gigante's with us today.
Gigante.
Hey, guys.
How are you, brother?
It's happy to be here today. Thank you very much. I know Joey Cola canceled at the last minute. That's why I'm here. I'll take it anyway. It's fine.
Damn it. You told him, Tony?
Well, wait, since the last time you were on, we gave you the moniker, if the Mafia needed a superhero, it would be Anthony.
I love that. I love that. It's a great line.
You're the Marvel Universe's version of the Mafia superhero.
I am. And yeah, for sure. In fact, you're right. I am. Yeah, I like that line. It's a fantastic line, by the way. I hear that all the time in my head. It's amazing. How you guys doing?
Good. So a little background. Anthony and I have known each other since high school, since I was in high school, probably. And right? Yeah. College. His cousin and I went to college together, John Gigante, one of my dearest friends, one of my oldest friends, and Anthony and I became friends. And Anthony went on to do production and produced a movie back in the day when nobody did crap like that. John's movie. Anthony raised money, and it was amazing, and they made this great movie. And then he moved out to L.A., and he's been California, and he's got all kinds of companies and he's just done so much in the last 25, 30 years. And so we had him on during the pandemic, and Mark and him fell in love. And I think they're better friends than I am now.
I got to tell you, though, like Anthony started at this new company, and watching it and what it's doing and how it's growing, it's motivational. Like, it's exciting to see this business that it's like, it feels like it's impossible to get into. This guy's doing it with one company, and then he starts a whole different thing with another company and dives in head first, and they're kicking ass. I love it.
Yeah. Kind of like us.
I've been very, very fortunate. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rich.
No, go.
Fill us in on what.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Since your move, we'll talk about all the new stuff that's going on.
Well, there's so many things happening. Mark and I were talking before we went on air about what happened this past weekend. I'm on 2 boards out here now, and one of the boards is an organization called Yes I Can, and Yes I Can helps disabled young adults get into the entertainment industry. So the past weekend on Saturday, we had our first big fundraiser. We had something called the Good Karma Music Fest out here in Santa Clarita, and we had artists like Too Short and Exhibit and Burner and a bunch of others. And the event was amazing. We had over 2,000 people attend, and it was an incredible night. And these things just keep on happening now in our world out here. My company, my own company, SCV Studios, Podcast SCV, which is the offspring of that. We have now a full TV studio out here in Santa Clarita, where we do podcasts, of course, and we do TV commercials, and we do town hall meetings, and we rent it out to whoever wants it. And it's really exploded. And it's given us great visibility in town, where we can do good things. Because as you guys both know, all I want to do is make the world a better place. That's all I want to do, you know.
That's so awesome.
That's cool, man.
And the both of you.
Go back real fast. I want to. This is something. It's funny you brought up Too Short. I haven't thought of Too Short since I was in high school. And then about 2 months ago, I was at a record store with old-fashioned vinyl records, which was before my time, but I love records. Jeez. I'm flipping through the classics, and there was a Too Short album. And I go, how crazy is it that Too Short's considered classic?
Yeah, right.
He was amazing. He's an amazing
good.
Set on Saturday. He's so good. And I didn't really know most of the artists there because I really don't listen to rap too much. But once I heard them, I realized that I've had heard them before, and they were incredible. I mean, such talented people. It's unbelievable, you know. And
I
we
think
put it together.
Too Short and Snoop Dogg, I don't care if you're a metalhead, you appreciate those two groups.
But you're right. It is weird that it's 20-something years ago, you know, like, or whatever. You know? I mean, like that. It's like you brought up Snoop Dogg. It's so, like, I was watching something the other day, and it was one of his old videos, and I'm like, oh my God, it's like from 1996. Like, you forget, you know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It was a pretty amazing day. And I was going to say, like, the both of you, you know, you're always on the road, and you're always doing your work, your great work that you both do. And you also touch a lot of people and make the world a better place, but you just don't know it until someone comes up and tells you. But you're able to entertain, you know, dozens and hundreds of people at a time. And that's quite incredible that, you really make a difference, you know, and it's not easy, but you really make a difference.
It's so nice of you to say that, because every once in a while you have these moments of, I had a radio interview this morning for something I'm doing upstate. And I was talking to the guy, and they're like, aren't you worried about cancel culture? Aren't you worried about, and they're naming all this stuff. And I was thinking about it. I go, actually, I'm not. Because my whole goal of my show is to try to make people happy. Like, right. I don't think about cancel culture. I don't think about, like, if the woke people are going to come after me, because I just try to make people smile. It's not like I'm not trying to shock people. You know?
Right. You do a great job at it, the both of you. You're amazing. Your career is, I mean, you know, unfortunately, everything and what we do, you know, you have to find the success in it in different ways. Of course, we all want to have financial success and be able to have the life we want. But success is also what we do, like what you guys do. You're out there all the time. you get booked all the time, which is, if you really think about it, it's quite amazing that your reputation
especially with
is
my
out there and
act.
people know you. I seen your act, and that's why no, I'm kidding around. You're great. You're great. You're great. But you gotta, I tell people a lot all the time, life is hard. You have to look in the mirror and pat yourself on the back once in a while, because, you're doing great things. You're out there doing it all the time. And, you got to realize what you're doing. You're doing incredible things,
Thing. Something that this week I got to work with Richie. I got to work, and I haven't seen Richie in a while. After his set was over, he happy.
Good job. Good job getting rid of the dog before we started the show, Mark.
He's
Jesus.
beautiful. He's beautiful.
It's like I'm working with Liberace. I swear to God.
Come and pet my puppy.
Beautiful puppy. Beautiful puppy.
I was working with Richie, and he's adopted. We're worried that his biological mom's going to come after him. Now he's on the podcast.
Oh, I thought you meant me.
But Richie did something at the end of his act what I've never seen him do before. You let your guard down, and you started talking about your father's anniversary of his passing.
Of his passing. I don't do it a lot. You've never seen me do that before? No, I guess you haven't. Yeah, I don't do it a lot. And
you were so earnest and so vulnerable, talking about like how this keeps your father's memory alive by talking and telling these stories. And it was beautiful. And I'm looking around the crowd because I was nervous, thinking like he's going off book. He's going off book. And I was looking at the crowd, watching them react, because I was into it because I love storytelling. But like the audience was mesmerized. And I think they all had this moment of like, I miss my dad too.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Mark, because one of the things I love about the bit is I do all this stuff about my parents, and then at the end I'll say, I've been lying to you guys, and I feel bad about it. And I'll say, my father died. And if a lot of people first think I'm joking, and then when they realize I'm not, you feel the air come out of the room. And it's a great way it's an amazing thing as a performer to bring them back and build them back up. And at the end, when I have the last joke, it makes it even that more special because they went here and I got them back to here. Yeah. And what I notice is I don't do the bit a lot. I'll tell you why, because when I do the bit, I cannot leave wherever I'm at, because people want to come up to me afterwards and go, I got to start. My mom died, and here's what, and they want to talk to you so badly. It's the most amazing thing. And without fail, somebody has to come up and tell me a story about what happened in their family. I lost my son. I'm really proud of that bit, because somehow it's kind of therapeutic for the audience.
You should base your whole next act on that.
Yeah.
And do a one-man.
Yeah.
They were really good stories, and they were positive, but they were funny. Even the sad parts you made funny.
Yeah.
It was. I really loved it.
Thank you.
I think what Anthony's talking about is right, where it's like, you don't. It's hard to pat yourself on the back, but then you see other people doing similar. Richie, he's a comic as well, and we're on the same show, and when you see it actually being effective, that like, oh wow, we are doing something good. Like this is
absolutely.
It makes it easier to like put things in perspective.
When I in my studio here, when you have people come in, I really believe that everyone has a story, and a lot of the problem is, well, not really the problem, but one of the challenges is that people don't embrace their story. And if you tell your story with great passion, and it'll help others, like when you're talking about your dad, Rich, I don't know if you know this, but both my parents, when they passed away, I was holding both of their hands, right?
No.
And people say to me, my God, wow, that's tough,
Yeah.
But, it wasn't tough. It was beautiful. It was almost in a way closure for me. But as you said, I do everything now in my parents' honor. And if someone that I know is close to me that we lose, I then reframe the energy and do everything I do in their honor, because it also motivates me to get through some of the tough days, and So I totally understand what you're saying there, and I think it's amazing that you did that, and I think people resonate towards it. People dig it.
Well, you know what's interesting too is I mean, we're talking about my bit and we shouldn't be, but I tell all these stories about my family, so audiences they feel like they know your family. They now because they can all relate to somebody in their family. So like if I walked up and immediately said my dad died, it wouldn't have the same impact that it has when I say it at the end, because suddenly they're invested in my family. You know what I mean? And it brings it's an interesting. And I just stumbled upon it. I'll tell you how this happened. My dad died on a Sunday morning, and we buried him on a Thursday. And the following Friday, a week from Friday, I did my first show in comedy. I remember going, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I really don't. And I was working with another comic, and I think he headlined just because they knew, let him headline because Richie's going through some shit and all. So I told the comic both of the stories off stage. Because he goes, dude, I'm sorry about your father. And I told him what happened, and he said, when you're ready, tell those stories on stage. When you're ready. So I got up that night, and I was doing pretty well. And then I go, can I tell you guys some? And I told them that night, my first night back on stage, I told those stories. And when I finished the stories, I introduced the next comic. He comes up, he goes, I didn't fucking mean tonight. Because now he's got to follow this poignant shit. And I just thought that was really funny. I didn't fucking mean tonight. So.
No, that's funny. But, that's generosity, too, that you share that with your audience. It's a very generous thing that you do, and generosity is whether people, I don't know if you guys look at your career that way, but I look at my career that way. I try to live a very generous life, and not necessarily financial, but time. And in our studio here, we have a lot of young folks that come in, and I kind of mentor them, and they are doing what they love, producing, directing, editing, and the rewards that you get back from it is just unbelievable, because just a simple thank you. You see someone doing what they love, turns me on, wants me to do even more of the things that I do,
and you're working with younger people then.
I have a staff now of a creative director. Her name is L'Oreal. Tyler is our in-house DP. Minica is our in-house editor and head engineer. I have 2 interns from Yes I Can, because we also provide interns that we pay for to get them out into the world. So I have 2 interns from Yes I Can coming in here as well, and they're talented kids. They're unbelievable. And 4 or 5 years ago, like my mindset in my life kind of shifted. It was actually during the pandemic. I don't think we've ever shared this, because the last time I was on the show, we were doing more comedy, but at least I tried to do comedy. You guys are doing comedy, but I was trying to do comedy.
So was Mark.
So was Mark. But it was during the pandemic, and I was bored, and I'm single, so I needed to figure out how I can get more tax deductions. So I started driving Lyft, believe it or not, and everything else I'm doing, right? And while I'm driving, I get people coming into the car, and most of them are young people who are going through this adversity for the first time. They've never experienced anything like this. Their life as they knew it changed overnight, right? So I'm driving and I'm listening, and I'm kind of interjecting when I can. But then I started to hear some really stories. One person in particular was a month away from graduating college, and they were behind in their student loan by $1,500 or something like that, and the university wouldn't let them finish, which I thought was a big injustice. So I paid the loan. I paid the loan. Yeah, paid the loan. And then of course you have to walk away when you do stuff like that, because you don't want it to get muddy where people think they owe you. So I just paid it. Then another person got in, family of 5. They were behind in their rent. I paid the rent. And
I don't think you understand the idea of what Lyft is for. You're supposed to be making money, Anthony.
I'm supposed to be making money. I'm the only guy that lost money.
You're not lifting spirits. You're giving them a lift to their next drive.
I know. I finally understood that after about 9 months. I misunderstood the mission there.
9 months, but, credit cards later.
Wow.
Yeah, I was the only guy who lost money driving Lyft, right? But then I started a podcast called Our Fighting Spirit because I said, people need a voice and people need to be heard, and people, so I interview people on Our Fighting Spirit, and people overcome amazing obstacles in their life, and I try to get them help. And it, not only financial, but medical, psychological, legal, whatever is needed. And we find them help. And that blew up. That took off, which was very exciting. And from there, it led to the studio.
Wow.
I actually found a studio in town, and I wanted to record in a studio, and I wanted to open up my own studio. But when I met the young man who owned this place prior to me, I just couldn't compete with him. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to come in and do my work with you and make your business great. And then 3 months later, he called me and said, you were so kind to me that I want to sell the studio. I want to give you first shot at it. So I bought it. And
wow.
Here we are. Yeah, here we are, Man, and it's been great.
Crazy? This is why I love you so much. We've been friends since the pandemic. I knew you were a good guy. Like,
I never heard, right.
I know you're a good guy. You're a decent guy. But then you hear stories like this and you go, and the guy doesn't bring it up in conversation.
Right.
Like if Richie helps an old woman across the street,
we're all going
to hear about it.
Well, first of all, you're never going to hear about it because it's never happening. I don't. Tony said because there's nobody older than me. First of all, who has time? You know how slow old ladies are. I mean, I got a podcast to do, honey. Come on, pick it up. And Anthony, just so you know, I need a new roof on my house, but no pressure. No pressure.
Yeah. Okay. We'll look into that. We'll see what we can do to help you there. No problem at all.
Dude, that is a great what a great story.
There's a thing kind of going around where it's like if a good deed happens and it's not on TikTok, did it really happen? And it's, like everybody's recording people doing nice deeds, but you start going like, do people really just do good deeds? And you're proof they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. That's been the direction of my life. And what's happening now is that things come to me 10 times over. Like it's amazing. The rewards that I get every day are just incredible. And I also dream big, and I would tell anyone who listens to this, because you guys do as well, but we have to dream big. So like after Rich, you'll get a kick. Well, you both get a kick out of this. After the concert on Saturday night, I'm in meetings without planning for like 4 hours till 3-4 in the morning. And one of the things that came up is that, a great festival like Coachella, great festival, is now becoming out of reach for a lot of people to attend because it's getting very expensive. So we're looking to now do a Coachella North, not associated with Coachella at all, but similar festival, North up here in Santa Clarita. And the guy I was talking to is connected to the Lady Gaga camp and all other artists that he is excited about doing it. And all of a sudden, whether things happen or not, you have to believe they're happening already, right? That's what I do. Like I manifest every day, I meditate every day, but I also believe, I convince myself that it's happening already because it just makes me feel good. And then most of the time it happens, and so the opportunities in this world are endless if you just believe, you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to lose. So we're working on that now. We're working on that for next year to see if we can create something out of nothing.
That's so awesome. That's great, so awesome. Man. And it's like,
thank you.
And not only are you doing things that are like successful, but you're doing it for good cause, which is like, it takes it to a different level, because it's like when people are successful, sometimes it's like, oh, that's cool. Like you're happy for them, but it's just so awesome that you're doing it for a real reason.
Thank you, Mark. It's very rewarding. And then from there, just things happen. And I was with, I had, 2 jobs in 30 years. So I have longevity. I'm very proud of that. And I just left another company, my old company, PRG, which has been great to me. They're wonderful people. And I'm now with a company called Fuse Technical Group. And I mean, it's the opportunities are endless again. Like it just keeps on going. So I'm very grateful for everything that happens, and I'm very excited about helping others and creating at the same time. It's just a good time. But like you guys, every day we have to perform, right? Every day we have to perform. We have to, you guys go out and do have a rough show. You never do a bad show. You have a rough show. It stays with you,
Who
right?
told you about last night?
We have to perform every day, right? We can't rest on our laurels. So
yeah, but kind of like the same thing that you're talking about, only the complete opposite. This is this is Anthony. I've known Anthony a long time, and everything he just said, that's the kind of person he's always been and all. And here's my story, okay? I have a friend, their husband and wife, Chris and Deb, and Chris just loves music. He loves music, and he's a huge music fan. He has a problem with crowds. He can't be in crowds, and Deb loves to go to concerts. So Chris, I swear to God, will buy tickets for her to go to a concert. He'll buy 2 tickets, and he goes to my buddy Richie, and he says, "Will you take Deb to this?" So, and Richie takes Deb to. They've been to everything. They just went to the Eagles. They've been to everything. They go to, and he pays for Richie's ticket. So he was telling Richie in front of me, "Hey, next summer Billy Joel's going to be done. Last show at Madison Square Garden. You got to take Deb." And Richie goes, "Okay." And I go, "What about me?" I'm joking. I go, "What about?" And you can't joke with Chris because he's that kind of like, "No, buddy." The next thing I know, I got a free ticket to Billy Joel. Wow, because meanwhile, and I was just being a dick. You know what I mean? I was just joking with the guy, and he's going, and I'm going, "Chris, I swear to God, I don't need to go. I don't need to go." And he's like, "No, I'm gonna," and the guy went out and bought 3 tickets. So it's pretty much like Anthony, only the complete opposite. I get people to do things for me.
So you're what we call a taker, and we're givers.
Yes, well, someone's got to be a taker. Someone's got to be a taker.
There has to be a taker for every giver. So
you're looking at
it. There'll just be a pile of stuff, and no one's taking.
And I'll let you guys know how Billy Joel.
That's right. A pile of stuff no one's taking. You're giving, but what's going on? You got to have someone taking too. Well, no, it's great.
With like the VA, and all these military. I've done all those USO shows, and they tell us about these really great programs, and they'll be telling us about all these things that they offer veterans, and they go, "But if nobody does it or nobody takes it, it just goes away."
Goes away.
And the thing is there are people who really need it, but veterans are so giving or so selfless that they'll go like, "Oh, that would help, but I don't need it. There's probably somebody who needs it." And they have to beg these people to take things that they deserve, that they're owed, but they have to beg them to take it. And the only way they can get them to do it is the guilt of, if you don't take it, it's going to go away. Then somebody who needs it won't have access.
Right.
Yeah, you're 100% right. My father never took any of his benefits. I was always surprised at that. I didn't understand why, but for that reason, he just didn't feel like he needed it. And
there's somebody who probably needs it more than me. And
that was the feeling. Yeah. And so I totally agree with you there. Yeah. It's interesting because, I don't walk around with a billboard on my, or, sandwich board on my body saying, I'm here, come to me. People find me now, and it's very interesting. And believe me, I'm like a philanthropist without any money, right? So, it's always been a great thing going on, but there's never been the financial resources to help. But we find it, and now with the studio, we're able to do different things for people. Like we give people, as I mentioned, a voice, and we create shows for them, and we produce them start to finish. But basically, as you guys know, when someone sits in front of a camera for the first time, it changes everything for them, and I've seen this happen so many times in this little room. It's been unbelievable. And you watch them grow in a very short period of time. And it's just great all the way around, it really works beautifully all the way around.
In the Anthony Gigante biopic that we're going to have to make in a few years,
I was just thinking the same.
Is there going to be how often is this line going to happen? Just imagine how many lives we could change if we had money.
every day, Mark. Every day. We're working on that too, because I believe that's all going to come. But the opportunity to have the opportunity just to do something good is just amazing. So grateful, like you guys do too. You're very humble, but you do the same. And if everyone did this in the world would be a better place. I mean, everyone did a little bit.
I mean, we live in a world now where the negative is so important to the narrative.
Yes,
like
yes,
it's and it's sad to me that
it gets more play.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand that. I never will. I never.
I always get nervous about my older son, my 9-year-old. I get nervous that he's going to get looked over a lot throughout his life because he's not. Well, there's that. I mean, you think that they would give to him just for that, but I feel like he doesn't complain. He's not he's not a complainer. He's a go with the flow kind of guy. He doesn't have anything that's like, doesn't want to shock you. He doesn't want to whatever. He's like this little hippie kid, like this happy-go-lucky hippie kid. And I constantly, as a father, get nervous that he's going to get looked over for things. Because
in a lot of ways, you just described yourself, dude. Right, Tony?
I know.
Really. And people gravitate to you. So... Right?
Yeah, but I get nervous because it's like it's your kid. When it's me, if I get looked over, I'm like, I'm okay with it. I'll work it out. I'll make it happen. But it's like when it's your kid, you feel like you have to do it or protect them or, whatever it is. And instead of going like, I bet he'll be able to figure it out on his own and he'll be a survivor because of it. But he's like, I mean, all of his teachers are like, he's the nicest, sweetest kid you could ever want in your classroom. But it's like I always feel like I have to tell him, like, you gotta speak up. You gotta be.
He'll get there. He'll get there. I mean, it's tough being that age, this day and age, because there's so many things we never had to deal with when we were younger. I mean, social media alone, I never realized what an impact it has on younger people. Bullying, maybe not even bullying, but just trying to keep up with others.
This Westfield, New Jersey high school. Did you guys see this story in Westfield, New Jersey? There's an app now on an AI where you can take a picture of someone. I'm probably describing this totally wrong, but you can take a picture of someone and distort the picture. The computer will decide. So these kids went on the app and they took pictures of the girls in the school and the computer made them naked and they're now naked.
Oh my goodness.
On the internet for the rest, forever. And these are like 14, 15-year-old girls. And can you imagine the way, what are we doing? What is happening? And apparently there's not much. The parents are, what are you going to do? Arrest the boys? I guess you could arrest the boys, but how about the app? Like, why is this allowed? Why isn't that?
I don't know. Why is it allowed? Yeah. I agree. Even the,
look it up. Westfield, New Jersey. It's a horrible story.
I will look that up. When I was back in New York, before I moved out here, I'm very big on young children's self-esteem building, and I listen very closely, especially when I'm in a store and I hear how parents talk to their kids. And I never interject because it's none of my business, but I take a mental note. So when I was back in New York before I came out here, I started a youth stickball league, and every Sunday we had the Daily News helping us, but every Sunday we closed the street in Bensonhurst, and we taught kids how to play stickball. And from a little idea to try to do something nice, at one time we had like 70, 80 kids coming from all over Brooklyn on a Sunday morning. It was freaking amazing.
Wow.
And I want to do the same thing out here because that taught me how to cope in life by socializing with others, playing on the street at the time. Of course, you can't do that really anymore, but a little more organized at this point. But that kind of gave me my foundation of how to socialize, how to deal with things, and how to overcome things, So I want to do the same out here. It's a little different in LA, but I want to get kids back to playing ball, and being outside, and I'm worried about this country in 20 to 30 years because we don't even know what's true that we hear and read. And secondly, I mean, these young children are going to need some kind of direction. I don't know. It just really gets me worried,
There is something though that you can take a little bit of have a little bit of a relaxation on. That is that I was the same thing about music. I thought music's over. Like when I was in my 20s and it was all like boy bands and they started then going even more into the hip hop arena. And I'm going, music's over. Nobody's ever going to play guitar again. They can do it on a computer. They do whatever. But now a generation went by where they were doing that. But the new generation, I go on YouTube and I see these 6-year-olds that can play Van Halen solos on guitars.
Amazing.
And these bands of like 13-year-old boys that are playing Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Perfect. And you just go, oh, it's cyclical. Like
I hope.
The kids right now love the stuff from the 70s and 80s. They love music. Like all of Axl's friends are all like really in the 70s and 80s music. And I love it because they'll be talking about it. I'm like, you guys like that?
Like, you're talking about your son, right?
Yeah.
Not Axl Rose, because his friends would be.
Well, his friends too come over. And
his friends are 70 and 80.
And you're right about that.
I think it's cyclical, and I think kids are going to start to like go, you know what? Dad just sits on the computer all day, and Dad's always on his phone. I don't want to do that.
Maybe.
I'm gonna go do this. It's that thing. My friend Killer Bees, he's a great comic, and he was telling us he was really big in the late 70s and early 80s. Like him, Seinfeld, Jeff Foxworthy were they were the big guys. And he goes, I was really popular, selling out arenas. Things were great. And he goes, in the late 90s and into the early 2000s, my attendance was horrible to my shows because my fans started to get old and their kids didn't want to go out and see what made mom and dad laugh. But then their kids were going, let's go see this comedian. Grandpa and Nana love this guy. Let's go see what makes them laugh. And he goes, I'm popular again.
Amazing. Yep.
Young kids are coming out with their grandparents to come see me. And I was like, that makes life so refreshing.
It does. Yeah, I agree. The upside of it is that the younger generation has so much at their fingertips to learn, and they can have a equivalent to a master's degree by the time they're 14 by all the information and stuff they absorb, right? Like playing guitar and learning how, they can learn online how to play guitar now. It's beautiful, and you're right. A lot of the younger people are running with it. Look at the Beatles. I mean, the Beatles have a whole new fan base now, and a lot of them are 10 to 12 to 13 years old, right? It just never ends.
Yeah.
I mean, who you guys talking about the song earlier? We were talking off the air about the song.
Yeah, Tony and I are fighting. Tony and I are not getting along today. It's a lot of problems over here because I'm always in the studio, Anthony, and Mark's obviously because I literally live 2 miles from here, so it's easier for me to come in. But there's a chair that I use, and there's no cover on it. I don't know if you can see this. This is you see that? So every time I put my arm down, it hurts. And I looked at Tony and I went, and this is what I got. You broke it.
He did.
You broke it.
I am not making that up.
It just was amazing how I knew then our love affair was over.
Every guest that I've had on my show have asked me what happened. I tell them every time Richie Byrne broke it.
I broke it.
You did. You broke it.
I broke it.
You did. Well, you guys were in it doing the show one day.
And this is all because I said I didn't like
Mom.
I didn't like the Beatles song. That's all I said.
No, one has nothing to do with the other.
I didn't like the Beatles song. I was not interested in the Beatles song. That pissed you off on the last show.
Well, yes.
So, anyway, I'm sorry, Anthony. I digress.
No, that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
The same thing you're talking about is it happened with Ozzy Osbourne. He was generational. Like every other generation loved Ozzy Osbourne, and he was popular for like 50 years.
Yeah.
Well,
I think, it's interesting
Willie
today.
Nelson.
I think it's interesting today because, and we didn't have this, but you can, a 15, 16-year-old can sit down, and this is where, the whole internet thing should be a help. They can sit down and watch anybody that they want.
Yes.
They can watch anybody. You could tell a kid about Jack Benny, and he could go and watch everything, just about everything Jack Benny did in TV is probably on the internet. You know what I mean? You could tell a kid about...
and 5 seconds later, look up Jackson Brown.
Right.
Like we would,
or Richard Pryor, and that to me,
go
man.
To Cleveland to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We got to go to New York to go to the movie archives.
Not any, but I think someone needs to teach a course on that about like. There should be a course about how to utilize the internet for good or something. I don't know what I'm talking about, but somewhere where there is so much there are so many amazing artistic moments at your fingertips, and that should be a great thing for. You would think this next generation will blow up with that. You know, we're going to talk about Chuck Berry. Chuck. Don't tell me that. Okay, well here he is. Here's the Little Richard. You can watch what these people were doing in the 50s.
Right.
It's on.
Right.
To me, that's amazing. It's
amazing, and it becomes a great influence for a lot of the younger people as well. Like the folks in my studio, like they're growing up into all of this, which is incredible, and they all know how to edit already at 18 years old. They know how to use DaVinci. They know how to edit TV shows. They know the timing. Yeah. Because they're growing up into it, they're doing it at home, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
and they have multi skills. They have all different skills that all come together, and it's quite fascinating. And also too, you mentioned the Beatles, Jack Benny, all these folks. It also inspires and influences people to say, "Wow, that's pretty funny." We never had that exposure when we were younger.
No, we didn't have the ability. Yeah,
we didn't have the ability. We had to wait for it to come on TV. If it did, we only had 3 channels right at the time. I mean, I don't want to outdate ourselves, but it's the reality. It's the truth. And now anything's accessible at any time, and it's quite a great opportunity to grow, even for us too. I mean, I look for things that I watch now that I would never had an opportunity to look at, and it inspires me.
I mean, we had the Honeymooners. That's what we had. We were kids in the 70s, and every night. Every kid I knew watched the Honeymooners, and it was old. It looked old, but and that was your way of going, oh, this is what comedy is. This is what, and to me, you can do that with any show now. You can do it with any show.
Yes. Which is
music.
Seinfeld is a great example.
Yeah.
The people, young people are big Seinfeld fans.
Yeah.
I'm amazed by it. Because they have the opportunity to watch it now, and they dig it. I mean, it's quite amazing.
In 2002, I spent a bunch of time in France, and we stayed at they were expats, and we stayed at their house, and they had kids who were in high school, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And this is the internet was around, but it wasn't as it is now. But they had a thing every week. The guy would give the kid an American band, and the kid had to spend the whole week researching it.
Wow.
So like with the first week we were there, the dad was like, stick around, my son's going to give us a report on Fleetwood Mac.
Wow.
And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, all week he researches them. He goes to the library, he listens to all their albums, and then he comes back and he tells me what he thinks of them, what he thinks their music, why it was influenced by, who they were influenced by, why they did it. And this kid is in high school, and he's given these great reports on Fleetwood Mac. And I'm going, I want to do this with my kids when I get older. But then the internet blew up, and it's like, like Richie was saying, you can just do it now. You don't even need a week.
Can I just interject for a minute? This is, you guys, I know you think it's me. But at Mark, as you were talking about that, Tony turned to me. You said Fleetwood Mac. Tony turned to me and said, "That's not an American band." This is the kind of shit I have to put up with here with Tony. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't get to hear that sarcastic bullshit that I had to hear because you said American bands. There were Americans in the band, Tony.
Still run by Mick Fleetwood.
Oh, stop, Mick Fleetwood. What did he write? He didn't write shit. The Americans wrote all the good songs on Fleetwood Mac.
Well, that was actually 2 separate sentences. That it was.
No, I know.
They did research on an American band. and the week I happen to be there, we'll put in subtitles. Not in an American band, but Fleetwood Mac.
Half of an American band. How about that?
Yeah.
Half.
This is all being edited out.
It's our first edit. We've talked about edits for years. Since we've been doing this, Anthony, we're actually going to edit out that I pretty much called Tony out on his dickiness. This will never make it to air.
Sorry, guys, the sound didn't work on this one.
I don't know what happened. It was a glitch. There's a glitch in the system. It worked as well as Richie with the chair.
That's beautiful.
Anthony, I think
beautiful.
this is the part of the show where we go, can we have you back?
Yeah, because Richie's starting to lose it. Can we? Yeah, Anthony.
Can we have you back on so we can talk more about your work that you're doing? I want to hear
absolutely.
more.
We really want to keep up with you because we both admire you and love what you're doing, man. We really do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Here's the thing about this show that I love about this show is that we never do the same kind of show every time. It's never always. And having you on today had a completely different vibe than we usually do, and it was just perfect. It was exactly what we were looking. Mark, I think you agree with me. It was exactly what we were looking for. And I love shows like this. Now, but here's the thing. We usually do a drink, a joke, and storytelling. And we did the storytelling. I'm always drinking water now. So, because we don't, but we have to tell a joke.
Yeah, we do need a joke.
And
you guys are the experts there.
Well,
so
Mark told a joke the other night. Mark told a joke the other night at the gig we did together. And I never heard it. And
do your version of it.
I don't remember. No, you tell it. No, you tell it.
Which joke was it?
The elephant.
Oh, okay. So the 6-year-old boy loves the zoo. He loves the zoo. And his favorite animal at the zoo? The elephants. So he goes with mom and dad to the zoo, and he's sitting there with his mom and dad looking at the elephants, and his dad goes to get something to eat. And he hits his mom on the shoulder. He goes, "Hey, Mom, what's that thing hanging down from the elephant?" She goes, "Oh, that's his trunk." He goes, "No, on the other side, hanging down from the elephant." She goes, "That's his tail." He goes, "No, the other thing that's hanging down from the elephant." She goes, "Oh, that's nothing." He rolls his eyes. He knows his dad will tell him. He goes over to his dad. His dad's getting a hot dog. He goes, "Hey, Dad, what's that thing hanging down from the elephant?" He goes, "Oh, that's his trunk." He goes, "No, on the other side, hanging down from the elephant." He goes, "Well, that's his tail." He goes, "No, the other thing that's hanging down from the elephant, Mom says it's nothing." And he goes, "Well, your mother is spoiled."
Awesome. Great.
It made me laugh so hard when he told that the other day. Anthony, so much love for you, brother. You know that. I think the world of you
guys.
We always love having you on, and we love what you're doing. And
thank you, Richie.
We'll have you back soon, man.
Yeah, well,
we have to work together.
Tell you the plans for the next year's concert, which we want to include a comedy festival as well.
Yes.
So perhaps we can figure out a way to get you guys out here and work with us, which would be amazing. And we'll talk about it all.
Buying a ticket now.
Yes.
Well, I hope we can fly you out. That's that's what I'm looking to do. I know we'll have to fly Richie out. I know that you'll come on your own, but we have to fly Richie out.
Well, maybe I could get my friend to. Maybe I can bring my friend's wife, and he'll pay for the tickets.
There you go. Tell him you want to go to L.A. and let's get a.
Your wife wants to go to some show in L.A. that I'm supposed to be on.
I love that. But we'll talk about that because I think it'll be a lot of fun. And plus, first of all, I love what you guys are doing. Your devotion to what you do, and you got to again pat yourselves on the back. Your career longevity is quite impressive, and you're out there doing it. And God bless you both.
Thank you, brother.
You too, Tony. You're a great producer, Tony.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Don't kiss his ass.
If there's, if you need anything over here, a satellite where maybe somebody needs to do a voiceover or something, just let us know.
I could use a new chair.
Well, yeah, so can we.
We have some stuff. The studio's in New Jersey, correct, or Staten Island?
Long Island.
Long Island. Okay, yeah. We'll talk about a lot of things we could do together. We'll talk about all that. Tony, I'll get your contact info. We'll figure all that stuff out.
Yeah,
We have a lot to do together.
I just started following you on Facebook, so and I'll reach out to you.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Anthony.
Guys, thank you so much. I
Our
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Take us out,
Anthony,
Mark.
I'll be texting you as soon as we hang up after I tell Richie.
Please do. And thank you very much for the time. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate you both.
Thanks for coming.
Take care.
Peace. That's Strange Jokes and Storytelling.
Hey, great! What a great show! Great show, right?
Thank you, guys.
Really?
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't know instead of fucking words, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the show sucked. I don't know.
No, it was an awesome show.